Hi, hello, wherever you are listening to this. Let us know where you listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, do we want to know that?
Yeah, I do.
Do you?
Are you scrubbing the toilet?
That's where you listen to podcasts,
While
right?
I'm cleaning.
Yes, okay. Or do you listen to us while you run, while you're in the car? That is actually a good thing to know. Mel's more interested than I am.
Yeah, I am.
It is Monty and Mel here with you. Stacey, who usually pods with us, is overseas at the moment.
Oh, and we miss her.
God, we miss her.
It's just, I mean, I love you, but our dynamic is different, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think that it's good for us to have her not here as well.
I know, because she's the pillar of strength.
Yeah, she is. You and I have had a tough time personally while she's been away. The day she left, shit went down in both of our lives.
I know.
And we were like, so normally on my way to work, on the way to the radio station, I'll call Stacey. Have you noticed I've been calling you more?
Yes.
I'll continue though when she gets
happy.
back.
I'm happy. And then you just drop me like a hot potato.
As soon as I get in there.
Get back. Oh, yeah. What's your name again? Melinda?
Hey, thanks for listening in. In all honesty, there are so many podcasts out there, so the fact that you listen tickles our bits pink. One thing I want to talk about is we've got Taryn Brumfitt is coming on the couch. We haven't done it on the couch in quite a while, actually, just because we've had a fair bit of other stuff going on, but it's very still much a part of our website, and we will get stuck into more of them. But Taryn is incredible. So it was a couple of years ago she did a documentary called Embrace.
Yes.
And she started the body positive movement. Mm-hmm. She's kind of the lady behind that. Anyway, so her story essentially is that she, growing up, didn't love her body, but it didn't really control her. When she fell pregnant, she loved her pregnant body, and it was in the shower after her first baby, she looked down and felt disgusting. Literally hours after giving birth.
Yeah.
And, she would self-talk and go, don't be silly, you've just given birth, and kind of got on with it. And then she had another 2 kids over the next 2 years. And then she thought, okay, I want to have surgery. I need to fix my body. I just hate it.
Yep.
Hated her boobs, hated her tummy, just hated it. Went to the surgeon, had the appointments, had it all ready to go. And then one day was watching her daughter play and thought, I can't do this for her. How am I going to teach her to love her body if I've completely altered mine? And so she didn't go through the operation, but she said that's when she hit rock bottom because she was still in this hating her body stage, but was felt stuck, I can't do surgery because I don't want my daughter to see that, but I'm stuck hating my body. So she decided that she was going to become, she wanted the perfect body. So she put herself into a bodybuilding competition to get fit. And anyway, 15 weeks of hardcore.
I was going to say that is commitment.
Yeah, from her and her family, eating, training, just obsessive. She got up on stage and she said, and this is all in the Embrace documentary. If you haven't yet watched it, it is so brilliant how she said the women behind stage who she was looking at going, their bodies are perfect, were all picking at what they didn't like. And she got up on stage thinking she would feel amazing and realised she didn't. She's like, wow, I have got to what I think is the perfect body and it's made no difference for me.
That's really funny. I think a lot of women can relate to all that you just said, but I think even for myself, I'll be happy when.
Yeah. We
when
all
get
do.
To where I want to go.
Yep.
I want to be more visible. I might take more opportunities. I might do this more, do that more. It's a real sort of, for me, it stops me from doing things that I should just be comfortable to do. It's strange.
It's just, I think it's a very... And I think majority of women feel this in some way, when I lose this weight or when I do this, but it's not even just, sometimes it's like when I make this money, I'll be happy, or when we get that house, I'll be happy, or it's just focusing on other things besides what's going on essentially, I guess, in your mind. Yeah. Maybe some form of control, there's a whole psychology behind it.
And I think what Taryn's doing with this is, I think, the more you see something, you more. So for all these years, all we've seen are models with this certain type of body, and that body shape might have changed over the years.
Yeah.
But it's always slim.
Yes.
It's always been slim. But I think the more that we see these women who have totally different body shapes, body sizes, we can aspire to, well, not even aspire to be like them, but look at our own body and go, you know what, this is my body and I'm happy with it.
Well, what I found interesting for her, and which I will talk about it, is she said it was like a brain snap for her after that competition. Yeah. She literally woke up the next morning and made pancakes, and she said, and I started living my life. And she said, I feel great that I can run to the top of the hill, but I don't need to be a certain number or anything like that. And I was like, wow, that's incredible that you've been able to do that. And she said that's not going to work for everybody. But she goes on, and interviews women in the street and it's like, use one word to say what you feel about your body. And the words are like disgusting, wobbly, not good enough, revolting. And I was nearly crying because I thought, okay, what would be, in all honesty, what would be the one word you would use to describe your body?
Fucked.
Wow.
Isn't that awful? And I think of all the things my body's done, like I've had children and, I even remember things. I think a lot of that stuff starts really early. I was always quite slim. I never had an issue with my body. But even as a little kid, I remember doing things like, and my mum never made us feel shamed around food or, like growing up in a European family, we were always really encouraged to eat. But with things like chocolate and stuff, she would do her shopping for the week and she would say, okay, these are like the treats you've got for the week. I'm not buying more.
Yeah.
But I remember I used to go in there and I used to steal those, those little fun size chocolates that you put. I used to take like 5 or 6, hide them, take them into my room, and I had this. Do you remember Alf?
Yeah.
Right. The TV show character.
I had Elf slippers, amazing. Yeah. And did he eat the cat? Did he always try and eat the cat?
He always wanted to eat the cat, but I don't think he ever did.
The alien.
But I had this Elf doll in my room and it had a nappy on it. I used to put a nappy on it and I used to like sort of sit there and binge eat that chocolate and then put the wrappers inside there. And I remember once Mum was cleaning my room and she opened the nappy and like 1,000 chocolate wrappers. But the shame I felt, I was so ashamed of myself.
You must have been very young if you had a nappy on a doll. Like how old are you talking?
Maybe we're talking 8 or 9,
right?
I think. But even way back then, I see it. The thing is, I always overate, but I didn't really put on a lot of weight. Now that I'm older, everything's slowed down. I'm still I'm still doing those old habits, but it's not falling away like it used to. So this has been for a few years now, but I'm very uncomfortable in my body. And I feel like we even talked before about sometimes I'm even funny eating in public because I feel like people are looking at me thinking, oh, well, what do you expect if you're going to eat like that?
Yeah.
Or whatever. It's awful. It's really awful.
It is so, and because no matter how much any of us sit here and go, wow, because as you talk in my head, I'm like, that's so crazy. But I have my own things too, where you would look at me and go, oh my God, you're tiny.
100%.
And Mel, you showed us a photo of you on your wedding day where you were tiny and you said, I remember even then not feeling ace.
Even at my lowest, I always remember thinking, I need to get rid of a bit more there. I've never ever been happy or comfortable in my body, ever.
God, it is such a waste of time though, isn't it? It is such a waste of time.
And it's your worst nightmare that your kids will feel that way.
Yeah, because I look back and think of literally the amount of time that I spent. I had an eating disorder for about 6 years where I would binge eat.
Yeah.
And what kicked it off, because I think, when did it really start? And Stacey, who we do show and tell with, moved to America, and she was doing a lacrosse scholarship over there.
Yeah.
I remember I used to run and I used to feel good being fit, but I didn't really consume myself with my body or fat or anything like that. But I remember I got shin splints and I couldn't run and I put on weight.
Yeah.
And so then I started to diet. And so when I went over to visit Stacey in America for like 3 months, and the food over there was very different than here. Obviously the size is very different, and Stacey was an athlete, so she'd eat and I'd eat, and I just got quite big for my own body. And that's when the dieting started, and that's when it all went downhill. And I was in a head fuck for 6 years. I would have purged if I could have. Like I would have been a bit what's it called? Bulimic.
Yeah.
Bulimic. I would have had that, but I physically couldn't vomit. So I'd stick my hands down my throat and couldn't get anything up.
Well, I couldn't ever vomit either, but I would take laxatives.
I went through a stage of doing that too.
And I'd be like, I would set out a day on the weekend and I'd be like, okay, I can eat like an animal on, say, Friday night. I'll take the laxative on Friday, like late. And then I knew I could spend all day shitting on Saturday. And I'd be like, all right, it's all out. It's awful because it robs you of just so much joy.
Yeah, it's consuming over nothing.
You just can't be happy.
No, I know.
And it's fucked.
Then I remember, and Sam, my partner now, I reckon it started when I was about 19 and went to when I was about 24 or so.
Yep.
So this binge eating would happen. And I remember Sam would be like, I'm going to go home tonight. And I'd be like, great. And I couldn't wait for him to leave because I would then go down to the milk bar. And I remember thinking, my milk bar lady must think I'm having the biggest party tonight.
Yeah.
Because I would buy everything and anything.
Yeah.
And then I would lay in my bed, but I would only ever binge at night. So then I would eat and then I could go to sleep. And I didn't have to sit in the horrendous feeling.
How's the shame after?
And then I would just be completely strict for the next however many days, and then I'd do it all again. Mm-hmm. And I vividly remember stopping after I'd visited my grandparents and driving home, and I pulled in to a 7-Eleven and bought all this food and drove home, and I called Sam on the way home, and I said, I need help. I can't do this anymore. I binge eat. I need help. And then I looked up, it's called RIPE. So if anyone out there has binge eating or bulimia problems, they don't do anorexics.
Yeah.
They don't deal with anorexia, but they do with, because binge eating is also not hugely considered as a main eating disorder, but it is.
Yeah, I think it is too.
It's like bulimia without the purging.
Yeah.
So it's almost more fucked. You just got to sit in the rottenness of it.
Yeah.
And then I went and I did group therapy. I did group therapy, and I found a lady there, Fiona Sutherland, who is a dietitian.
She's amazing.
And I call her my angel because she saved my life. Not saved my life, but she changed my life.
Yep.
And kind of gave me freedom. And then I moved away to Albury to do my first breakfast radio gig. And I remember in that time, that's when it changed. I kind of had time to myself, and I didn't... But I still have to be very conscious of the food I eat. Like, I don't have total freedom now. I don't. There's foods that I know that are kind of danger to me. I know there's moods that it's kind of dangerous to me, but I know them, and I know. Yeah, I did a lot of work to get through it. It was like quite a few month program. But I tell you what, I didn't want to do the group program, and I did it, and it was the best thing I could have done. And the ages of the women in there was unbelievable.
I know, and you even look at older women and think, still.
Yeah.
You're in your 70s or your 80s and you're still funny about what you eat, because you're like, fuck, what's going to happen? Yeah. Like, you're just going to get towards the end of your life and think, I've spent so much time and energy not enjoying my life.
Well, because you look back on old photos now, just while I'm talking about Fiona, RIPE stands for Recovery is Possible for Everyone. So if you want to look her up, or you know anyone that is struggling with eating disorders, definitely look her up, reach out to her. Her programs are just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? What were you saying?
About getting older and... like
because you look back on photos of when you were younger and you're like, oh my God, I look so good. And I remember I felt so terrible that day.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's just something, and you and I especially, I think that we have it in us, like Stace, who we work with, has always been like, my body is strong. It lets me do this. It lets me walk. It lets me have babies. And we do need to, it's very hard to live in that every day, but it's such a waste of our time. It doesn't help saying it's a waste of our time either. It doesn't take that feeling away.
Yeah. She's actually, Stacey's mindset around that is actually the pinnacle of where you'd want to be. Yeah.
It's just not, and we see her weight fluctuate sometimes, and just never would she point that out. Never would she go, oh yeah, I'm like really quite tiny at the moment, or I'm bigger at the moment. It doesn't bother her.
No, and isn't it funny how sometimes, I only know from myself, times where I had dropped a lot of weight or whatever, as soon as someone says to me, I remember I got very, very thin at one point, still unhappy, but I remember people were saying to me, you've got to stop losing weight, you've gone too far. I used to thrive off that. Anyone who ever said, oh my God, you're getting too thin, I would get like such an endorphin hit or dopamine hit or whatever. I was like, oh my God, yes, like I'm getting there.
It is. It is a mental disorder.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Which just needs constant work, and if you've got it in you, it is something you have to manage all the time.
Just to add to all the others.
Oh my God,
they don't want to be lonely. I need a friend.
How funny! I feel like we've got so much other stuff here to talk about, but I feel like that we shouldn't. Like, I feel like going on to something else after such a heavy conversation doesn't feel right today. Maybe it's good to have different ones every now and then.
I think so too.
Feel free to email us, to please follow us on our socials, Show and Tell Online, and also our website, showandtellonline.com.au. Yep. Comment on our podcast. We would love to hear from you. And
keep your eye out for Monty's interview with Taryn.
Yeah, with Taryn. So anyway, after she did the bodybuilding, she kind of was like, this is messed up, and went in and did a crowdfunding and did an incredible documentary. So I'm going to speak to her about all of that, which will be brilliant, and hopefully you'll get something out of it. Definitely watch that. I know it's a couple of years old, but the doco is brilliant. Yep. I just rented it off YouTube. I didn't realise you rent things off YouTube sometimes.
I didn't know you could either.
I know. It was like $4 on YouTube.
I think you can get it through iTunes
can
as
you?
well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can.
Weird.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye.